The first good patch update in Pokemon Unite. Let's talk about it. Hey there everybody, it's your Pokemon Professor DataDave here, and let's talk about both the nerfs and buffs and how we feel about them. I'll give my take and I'd love to see yours. So first off, when it comes to nerfs, they finally nerfed Glaceon. Glaceon's basic attack speed has been reduced and the damage based on HP per spear has been reduced as well. This is huge because Glaceon has definitely been a huge problem in ranked and matches in general because they do such high damage but they have sure hit moves. Having a combination of them both makes them a pretty easy to play character. So now that this has been reduced, Glaceon's may be a bit easier to deal with, which we really need. Next up, shockingly but completely understandable, Umbreon was nerfed too. They actually reduced the range of his mean look, which is great, while increasing its cooldown, which I personally feel was needed. They also reduced the reduction of how much special attack and attack, I believe, of how much he decreases that for his opponents. I mean, it already slows people in the AoE form, reduces their attacks, and it was so significant that he's just such a great character to have on top of shutting people down for mean luck. Yeah, he might not be a damage dealer, but Umbreon is just great to have on any team. So hopefully this reduction makes him a little bit less of a threat and makes fights go a little bit easier, which I feel is great to have, so it's a little bit easier to deal with the Umbreon. Now Inteleon, and I really didn't know this one. I might not completely agree with it, but when they explain their reasoning, I feel like I understand, so do let me know what you think. They said word for word, snipe shots from skilled trainers with high accuracy were too powerful, making Inteleon one of the best Pokemon in the tournament scene. So basically they reduced the damage to reduce its influence in the mid game. Now I feel for both casual, typical ranked players and people not in the tournament scenes, it really won't influence much for us. I'm sure they're skilled Inteleon players, but I don't feel like it's on that super high level gameplay. So maybe he'll get picked less or the same, or maybe people will use snipe shot even less knowing this nerf. But honestly, if in the tournament scene those snipe shots do so much damage, Rayquaza snipes, or even just taking out teammates or opponents for that matter, then I guess I understand that. Me not being proficient in Inteleon, I don't know too much I can say to it, but I didn't know it was that much of an issue. But that nerf's in place, it's like, I guess. Now for the next one, I understand why they got a nerf, and what's funny is this is actually a personal favorite pick of mine, but I completely understand why they needed this nerf. So next up, Clefable was actually nerfed. Let's be honest, Clefable with Gravity and Moonlight are arguably one of the best support combos for groups. For solo play, not as much, but if you're with a duo, trio, or if you're honestly with a team of 5 friends that you know, she's just great. I mean, like, Gravity slows the enemy, you do a bit more damage. Moonlight speeds up your team, heals over time, heals yourself. It's just really too great to have that combo. So what specifically was nerfed was the Moonlight healing rate, and also for Gravity, the cooldown, which I completely understand because Clefable as a support is really phenomenal, so you just can't beat that. But the nerf was well placed. I will say good job to Pokemon Unite devs on that. Now my favorite nerf to date on this patch, and I knew it needed to happen, is Miraidon, let's be honest. Now, as somebody that loves to play characters that have long range or zoners, etc. in games, I understand why he got this nerf. He needed it. Miraidon, ever since release, has been dominating in every game he's in if he's not focused, and he just needed that nerf. His damage is just too high. So with his charge beam finally decreased in damage, and his thunder cooldown increased, while decreasing the slow it has in opponents, people can finally, when they're getting hit by thunder, actually move out of it. You know, before, in my personal opinion, the slow was so much that you're probably going to get hit by every blast, and because you're so slow, charge beam, boom, it does too much damage, you lose. I'm sure you've experienced it just as much as I have, but he's just too great. Now, do I think he'll be great after this? We'll see. I think some limit testing is going to be needed to be done, but regardless, his kit's good. Maybe this nerf might put him back a bit, but let me know what you think. I think he'll still be okay, but there might be some fine tuning that needs to be done. So I've talked a lot about nerfs. Let's talk about some buffs and what you think about it and what I think about it too. So I'm glad to see that there was some buffs for Scizor and Scyther. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really feel that Scizor and Scyther were in a bad place. I feel that Scizor is better for the sustain and how he fights, especially in group fights, but I do see why Scyther maybe wasn't the best recently. Because honestly, in regards to Speedster, I consider I consider Scyther a Speedster. It's just like there's better picks if you're gonna do it. You might as well go Scizor in my personal opinion. So he's gotten the movement speed increase, and the length that he has his movement speed buff is increased, which is nice, so that'll help him get in, get out, or at least be able to chase down opponents. Now for this one, I didn't know until I actually read the specific patch notes, but before, Muscle Band has changed from the last update. Basically, Muscle Band now, for those that missed it, only activates once per auto attack. In the past, that used to be pretty amazing for Charizard because like it just activated every time he hit. That gave a lot of damage output and more. And that was his main damage source. So it's interesting to see that they've actually increased Charizard's overall damage in hopes to put him in a much better place than where he was. He did feel a bit kind of weak to me, so that's what's happening with Charizard in Muscle Band. Last but not least, and this one I didn't expect, but I see what they're trying to go for, is Greeing. Now I don't know about you all, but I've rarely seen Greeing in any of my matches at all. I was looking at the website last week and I saw he was actually the least played player or character picked that week. So it's like, you know, no one's really playing him right now. So I see they gave him a buff, if I'm not mistaken, on his bullet seed, which is nice, that's cool, but I don't think that's going to make more people play him. I'm going to go back and give him a few games because I didn't even use the bullet seed build ideally, but maybe with this damage he'll be in a better place. We'll just really have to see, but I think he's just not as popular right now with all the Pokemon that we have. So with that said, that's all the updates. Let me know your thoughts on this patch. Overall, I love the changes because it seems that they were focusing on the hyper carries or problematic Pokemon both in the tournament scene and both in general. I mean, shoutouts to Glaceon, Miraidon, Clefable, especially Umbreon, because something needed to be done there because we see them everywhere. Personal take, I still think something should be done about Glacian and Mewtwo, but we'll see how it goes, especially when we have 3 EXs in one match. So we'll see, but at least this is a good change in my opinion. But do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. You know the YouTube thing. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to. You know I'm doing the Pokemon content. Until then, it is your MOBA / Pokemon professor checking out DataDave here. See you later, everybody, and until next time.